Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about when do we grow up. And it's something that we unconsciously think about in our day-to-day lives as we get older, because we're faced with several different realities that completely shatter our understanding of the world and how we viewed it when we were younger. Now, before I get to talking about what I think about that question, or my answer to it rather, feel free to pause the video and in the comment section below, start a discussion. Write out your point of view and let me know what you think. Like, when do we really grow up? But just to get started on my end, it's one of those things that I usually debate with myself, or just think about in general as time goes on, or as I'm walking or just cleaning or doing anything. Is it determined by the passing of time, so how old we are? Is it determined by our experiences in life? Or is it just a conscious decision that we eventually make? Which one is it? I would have to say the answer to this question is going to be unique to each individual person. So I'm not saying there's the one answer fit all ordeal here, where for every single person it's one thing and this is when they grow up. I believe that it's just unique to every person, but from my own experience and what I assume would be the experience of a lot of people, I believe that we grow up once we've experienced certain things in our day-to-day lives. That's when I think it would happen. It's one of those things where it's sort of reality shedding a light on your present situation. It could drastically change your understanding of life and how you view it. So it would have to be whatever, or one other way to look at it is the circumstance, is each person's circumstance is what will ultimately pave the way for the person to grow up. Now, one of the things with growing up is it's not one of those things that you can just undo. You can't just gain that level of consciousness of yourself, of the world around you, and decide, you know what? Nobody told me it was going to be like this. I wanna go back to what it was a couple years ago. Unfortunately, it's one of those lessons that once it's learned, you will never forget it. Even if you did your best and tried to act against it, you inherently at that point will know that what you're doing is wrong. Once that veil has been lifted and you're experiencing life for what it is, there's no going back. It's like the age-old saying or statement that's used by people is, like, when they get older and then they take on more responsibility, like bills and whatnot, they start talking about how nobody told me it was going to be like this. They get a bit nostalgic and they think about the good old days when life was a lot easier. So it's one of those things that it's bittersweet, is one way to think about it, because it's great in a sense because it allows you to be more conscious of your life. It allows you to be more present in your day-to-day life, because one of the major takeaways from eventually growing up or reaching that consciousness is you understand just how valuable and priceless life really is, but you also understand just how fragile it is as well. And it's, to say the least, it's definitely a unique experience. Now, our view, like I talked earlier, of the world just in general ultimately changes, our approach to the world ultimately changes, we start to realize that we need to play some sort of role in our communities, in our society, in the world. And it all revolves taking on some sort of responsibility. Now, responsibility is terrifying for a lot of people. It's not something they're used to. If even for those who have grown up in age, meaning they've gotten older and older, some people have gotten sheltered from responsibility. Now, that's a double-edged sword. It makes people super comfortable, but it also makes it so that they don't really understand the world around them and what it takes to thrive in it and to ultimately contribute to it. So it's one of those things that you also end up dreading, which is now you're in the front seat of life. It's like there's something I thought about a few years ago that really depicts what life is. So life is like a snack machine. You know, it's one of those things where you start off at the very back of the snack machine and you're looking around you. And just for the sake of this example, bear with me. Let's imagine it as if it's people that are in that snack machine or the vending machine or however you want to look at it. As those people fall off, you know, like they're sort of yelling, you know, like, oh, what, no. And that falling off is ultimately reaching the end of like life and whatnot. It's just the cycle of life. Eventually you get filtered out. But when we're at the very back of it, we don't have the consciousness required to understand what exactly is going on. So we interpret it as if it's like a joyride, like it's a roller coaster, and the people at the very front of the line are having fun. Now, what happens is as time goes on, you start moving closer and closer and closer to the edge of the vending machine. And you go through all the phases of, you know, you can't wait to get to that point. But then, as you get closer and closer to it, you realize the reality of it. You realize that once you fall off that's it. You're gonna embark on to the next chapter of existence, right? And so you start to understand your lot in life a lot more. You start to appreciate whatever time it is that you have, and you make the most of it. Because ultimately, from what I think is the biggest burden on a person is reality. It's taking responsibility for what life really is and ultimately making the most of it. And then to top it off, it's one of those things that you learn to appreciate as time goes on. When you're just get thrusted into it and you're trying to juggle the realities of this world, it's going to be a bit difficult. But as time goes on and you get used to it, you will be full of so much gratitude, and you would have wished that it happened earlier. So you can argue it's unique to every person's experience in life, but ultimately, being given the gift of understanding what it is and ultimately setting out and making a plan to make the most of it is the greatest reward that you can receive. So that's just my 2 cents on like when do we really grow up. And again, let me know down below what you guys think or what experiences you've gone through in life that really solidified it for you that you've grown up and you're facing the world head on. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.